everyone. I am coming on tonight. It's Friday, so I always do my Friday financial. But there's been a lot of questions over this last few days, and I announced when I sent out my newsletter earlier this week. Are you on that list? Because if you're not, you need to get on there. I sent out my newsletter earlier this week and said that I was going to talk about sick leave, and specifically how sick leave counts towards our federal annuity, because a lot of people don't understand how it works. So speaking of how things work, have just discovered this afternoon how to actually bring slides up in my screen. So I love that, but this has been a continual learning process for me. So baby steps, but I'm finally getting there. So when we talk about whether or not sick leave counts towards your federal retirement, there are two very different things that we talk about. And you need to understand that before we can discuss how the sick leave is actually going to work. So number one, we have eligibility. Okay, eligibility means that you're old enough and you've worked long enough to be able to retire. And then we have computation. So computation is the amount of your retirement, or we call that your annuity, your pension, okay? Eligibility, you're old enough and you work long enough to get something. Computation is the something. That's the amount of your retirement. Sick leave counts for computation only. It never counts for eligibility. So that means that if I am a year away from being able to retire, I'm a year away from being eligible, but I've got a year of sick leave on the books, guess what? I'm a year away from being eligible. Sick leave does not allow me to retire any sooner than I would normally be able to. I have to work until I'm eligible to retire, and then they give me credit for the sick leave that I have on the books. So sick leave is going to add money to my pension or my annuity or my retirement check. And the way that we figure out how much credit to give you for the sick leave is by converting the sick leave that you have on the books to a certain number of potentially years and months and days of credit. So the reason I'm so excited to be able to bring slides in here is because I want to be able to show you exactly how this works. And in the past, I've always had to just drop stuff into the comments. So let me see. There we go. Okay, so the Office of Personnel Management has a sick leave chart that we use in order to convert this sick leave to a certain amount of time. So you can see, hopefully, on your computer screen that we have this 2,087 hour sick leave chart. You can't see the whole thing. I will drop a PDF with the whole thing in the first comment once the stream is over, so you'll be able to catch it there. But for now, number one, there is no cap on sick leave. A lot of people think that there is because the chart is 2,087 hours. But the fact is that 2,087 hours gives you one additional year. That's all, okay? There's no cap at all. If you had more than 2,087 hours, then you would give yourself credit for the 1 year and you would plug the difference into the table. So it does all count. That is a big misunderstanding. It's a myth that's been perpetuated over the years. 2,087 hours gives me one additional year. Okay, if I don't have that, or if I have more than that, then I'm just going to plug my balance into the body of this table. We're always rounding up. So I'm going to pick the number that's closest to, but also higher than my sick leave balance in order to do the conversion. For this example, I just took one right out of my classroom where I say, let's assume that the person has 897 hours of sick leave on the books, okay? 897 is not on this table anywhere. If I round up, the closest number I'm going to find is 899. And once I look at that number, I draw a straight line to the top of that column and another straight line over to the first column where the days are listed. So you can see it's intersecting between the top and the side, right? 897 hours of sick leave will add 5 months and 5 days to somebody's length of service for computation. Again, they don't get to retire 5 months and 5 days earlier. They've got to be eligible to retire first, but their pay, their annuity, their pension, their retirement check is going to be giving them an extra 5 months and 5 days of computation. Now, here's another misunderstanding that I cover in every one of my classes. People think that they only get credit for sick leave in month increments. That isn't true. But there's a logical reason why a lot of people think that, okay? For our retirement computation, we're going to multiply a formula, how you retire is going to drive that, by your high 3 average salary, by your creditable length of service. Now, that creditable length of service line in this math problem is full years and full months only. Days don't count. However, creditable length of service is not just sick leave. It's your sick leave, years, months, and days, plus civilian work, years, months, and days, plus military deposited time, years, months, and days. And we've got to add all of that together before we round down. That's where people mess up. That's where they make mistakes. They don't add everything together. They just start taking the days away from their sick leave, and that's not correct. That's not how it works. So again, here's an example, and I'm just bringing stuff directly in from my class. So, I mean, if you've been to one of the classes, you've actually seen this. But here's an example of someone that's planning to retire at the end of this year. So they picked a retirement date, December 31st, 2020. Their civilian service computation date is May 14th, 1996. Now, when I subtract the civilian service comp date from the retirement date, I find that this individual has 24 years, 7 months, and 17 days of civilian service. They also made a military deposit, which equaled 4 years, 2 months, and 8 days, and 897 hours of sick leave, rounding up to the closest number on that chart, which was 899, doing my, top and side lines, I gave them their 5 months and 5 days credit for sick leave. So now what I'm going to do is add together that civilian time, that military time, and that sick leave. And all of that equals 28 years, 14 months, and 30 days. Whenever we talk about federal retirement, it doesn't matter what we're talking about, every month is considered to have 30 days, okay? Don't try to figure it out. A lot of times people go in class, why is that? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just a rule, okay? Every single month is considered to have 30 days. So when I get to the bottom, I have those 30 days, which are going to add a month. And I have 12 months, which are going to add a year. So I end up with 29 years and 3 months in this first example. The 5 days of sick leave, when included with the 8 days of military and 17 days of civilian work time, rounded out a month. It does count. It does. But a lot of people think that sick leave has to be in even months. So what if I was that person and I got an answer of 5 months and 5 days? Obviously, I don't want to give anything up. I don't want to lose anything. So why don't I call in sick for 5 days? And let's see what happens in that scenario. When I call in sick for 5 days, okay, they subtract 40 hours of sick leave from my balance. So that takes me down to 857. When I go back to the sick leave chart, and again, I'm going to drop that in the first comment so you can see that once the stream is over. But when I go into the sick leave chart and I pick the number that's closest to but higher than 857, I'm going to find out that that's worth 4 months and 28 days. This time, when I add my sick leave to my military, to my civilian time, I have a total of 28 years, 13 months, and 53 days. When I get to the bottom, not before that, when I get to the bottom, 30 days, add a month, 12 months, add a year, I have a final answer here of 29 years, 2 months, and 23 days. It is when I get to the bottom, if the days don't total 30, that they fall off, which is why I'm showing you here a line through that 23 days. Okay? And if you're paying attention, you see what happened. The person ended up doing this to themselves because in scenario 1, they had 5 months and 5 days. They didn't think the 5 days was going to count. They called in sick for 5 days. Net result, they lost 23 days. So that's how sick leave works when we talk about your federal retirement. And again, it's a question that comes up in all of the classes. A lot of people, don't really understand how it works. So I thought that was really important to come on and talk to you about tonight. Another thing, and guys, listen, if you have any questions, if this isn't clear, if you don't really get it, or you want to add something else in, hop in the comments. Interact with me. Let me know what you have for questions or concerns so I can address those while we're right here together. I would love to do that. The second part of this, so I actually maybe overcommitted myself because I could have just talked about the sick leave and that might have been, reasonable enough, good enough. But I wanted to talk about sick leave and also why so many people pick December 31st as their retirement date. When we make that decision, now, again, let me back up just a little bit and say, I can't decide to retire unless I'm eligible. And there are 8 different ways that a federal employee can retire. Each of them requires a certain age and also a certain amount of credible service. We're not going to talk about that tonight. But once I am eligible, I can decide when to go. In my classes, I like to tell people that there is a good day, a better day, and a best day. A good day, any day you can do it. You're finally old enough to retire. You finally worked long enough to retire. That's a good day. Better day, last day of a pay period, because leave is not prorated in that final pay period. Unless you work the whole thing, you're not going to get leave for that final pay period. Also better is generally the last day of the month. That's because federal annuities begin to accrue on the first of the month and they pay out a month later. So if I leave on my birthday, the 15th of June, I'm not working from the 16th to the 30th. I'm not working, I'm not earning a paycheck. And when I leave in the middle of the month, my pension doesn't start until the 1st of July. I don't get that payment until the 1st of August. But if I wait until June 30th to retire, my retirement starts on the 1st of July. I get my final paycheck in the middle of July. I get that retirement check the 1st of August. So now you see everything is backing up to the thing in front of it. That's better. Sometimes, not always, we can match those things up and we can look at a calendar and go, oh, this last day of the pay period is also the last day of the month. That's even better. For the CSRS people, it can be a little bit different, okay? They've got 3 additional days. They can pick the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd and be okay. Their retirement will start the next day. But that's for the old system. FERS people, the system that's been in place since 1987, is the last day of the month. Hey, Lisa, so good to see you. Had no clue just how much sick leave can contribute to my retirement. I knew it did, just not how much. Yay! Then it was worth my time to come here and help you figure that out. I'm so glad that I could. Under FERS, if I have a year of sick leave, that's adding 1% times my high 3 to my retirement for the rest of my life. I had 6 months, that's adding 0.5% times my high 3 to my retirement for the rest of my life. It can have a really, really big impact. Okay, so as we're talking about picking that day, right? The last day of the pay period, better. The last day of the month, better. Even better if I can match those 2 things up. The best day and the day that most federal employees choose is December 31st because it's the last day of a month. So my retirement starts the next day, final paycheck comes mid-month, first retirement check comes the 1st of the following month. Great, okay, we've checked that box. Also, we talk about how sick leave is added to your monthly retirement check for the rest of your life. Annual leave isn't added to your retirement, but rather it's cashed out in a lump sum. You're going to be paid for that a couple of weeks after you leave your federal job. And we can be paid for more leave by going on December 31st, January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd for the CSRS people, because there's no such thing as use or lose until pay period 1. Pay period 1 is never going to start before January 1st. So if I have a normal carryover balance of 240, and you should know as a federal employee that we all have different balances, right? Depending on if I had overseas service, if I'm a special provision employee, law enforcement, firefighter, customs and border protection officer, if I was working at a BRAC installation, if I'm an SES, we all have different things going on. But if I'll say normal, if there's a normal, the typical federal employee can't carry over more than 240 hours from one year into the next. So let's say that I'm getting ready to retire on December 31st, and back in January, as I started this year, I started with my 240. I have at least 15 years of creditable service, so I'm earning leave at a rate of 8 hours per pay period. And remember what I said, if I don't work the pay period, I don't get leave for the pay period. So normally, when I leave on December 31st, I'm in the middle of a pay period. That means that I would get 8 times 25 instead of 8 times 26. That's going to happen every once in a while, but it's pretty rare. I started with 240. I've earned 200, and I didn't take any leave in that final year of work because I knew that I was getting ready to retire. That's when I could be paid for 440 hours of annual leave. If I stayed until the start of that pay period, then they cut me back to whatever my carryover balance is. But again, for most people, that's going to be 240. So that's why you see a lot of people hanging on to their annual leave in that last year of work and then retiring on December 31st. Now they can get this lump sum payment, which is a really nice way to start retirement, especially since it takes OPM a while to process our retirement, right? So those are all reasons why you see a lot of people leaving on December 31st. It can also have a bearing on cost of living adjustments in retirement. Under FERS, unless we're special provisions or we retire on a disability, we don't get any COLA until we're 62. Sorry if that's news to you. No COLA until we're 62 unless we retire on a disability or we're special provisions. But if I'm still working and I'm already 62, COLA is going to be based upon the consumer price index from the previous year. So if I retired, just say in June, and there was a cost of living adjustment, which we know about in October, which becomes effective in December, which we see in our January retirement check that covers the month of December. If I retired in June, then come that January, I'd only get 50% of the COLA because I was only retired for 50% of the year that it was in effect. Whereas if I retired on December 31st, then the following January, I'm going to get 100% of the COLA because I was retired for 100% of the year. So anyway, I thought that those two things would be really important to talk about. They come up in every class. People have a lot of questions about them, and I want these streams to be helpful to you. I don't want to take my time to show up here if it's not going to be providing a service to anyone. So really, honestly, please let me know. Let me know if you're learning something. Let me know if there's something you want to learn about so that I can bring that to you in one of the other streams. I always love to hear from you and really want to help. 2 people watching, that's awesome. I know that several other people watch normally later in the evening, so we'll catch the replay. If you're catching the replay, let me know that you saw it so that I know that you were here, and let me know what you thought about it. Lisa, I hope you have a fantastic weekend, girl. I'm going to hop off here. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care, everyone.